If I handed you a ball and I asked you to throw it sidearm like you were skipping a rock across the water, I think most of you would do a motion that's very much like that, right? You would get the ball back here, you would open up, and you would release that out in front. Well, the golf swing is basically the same motion, right? We're getting that club at the top of the swing, and we're right hand throwing that out in front. We want to throw the club head out in front. That's how we get the speed and the compression that all the tour players are getting. But what I see a lot of students doing is they get this arm really bunched up at the top, right? They won't separate the arm from the body. They'll get too much bend in the trail arm, and they'll also have this wrist in kind of a flat, the trail wrist in a kind of a flat position. And that just creates a lot of issues. It makes it very, very difficult to throw that arm out in front. So if you imagine, if I really bent my arm like this, imagine you were going to throw a ball like this. You would bend your arm a lot, or keep the arm kind of close to your side here. Well, it's hard to throw it with a lot of power. There are some players that do that. One that comes to mind is like a Matt Kuchar. He does keep his arm kind of close to his side and bends his arm. He's not a real powerful player, but I would say as far as good players are concerned, he's kind of an outlier. I think most people are going to get more power if they're getting some separation from their body, because that helps elevate the club to get it up a little bit higher. So that way you're creating more space and time to accelerate the club, which gives you more speed. Also, if we bend this arm a lot, so some people are getting the arm elevated, but then they're really bending the arm a lot at the top. Well, if I get up at the top like this and I have a lot of bend in my arm, if you imagine, if I were to throw this as hard as I could, what direction am I going to be able to throw this as hard as I can? That direction is going to be straight into the ground, right? It's going to be like a Gronk spike, right into the ground. And that's typically what I see with players who get a lot of bend in that trail arm at the top, is they start to throw the club right away. So if we want to get power and we want to throw that club out in front to get that whip of speed, that crack of speed through impact, and that club releasing out in front like we see all the tour players doing, we have to get into a better position at the top. So what I want you to do is a drill that you may have heard of. It's called the 90-90-90 drill. I've seen I've seen this in other sports, and I've seen some other instructors doing a drill like this. Another sport where I've seen this is basketball. In basketball, when you're shooting, you want to have about a 90-degree angle here, 90-degree angle here, 90-degree angle here to shoot the ball. That's how I learned to shoot a basketball. And whenever I'm struggling shooting the basketball, I play a little rec basketball every now and then. It's usually because I'm bending the arm too much or not getting it out in front of me and things like that. So I go right back to that 90-90-90 drill, and now I'm shooting good again. Same thing applies to golf. If we can get into a good 90-90-90 position at the top with our arms here, it's going to make it much, much easier to release that club out in front. If you look at a baseball pitchers, you don't see any of them like this at the top. They all got that ball out here with those 90-degree angles. So let's talk about how we're going to get into those angles here. And now we can translate that into our normal swing. So what I want you to do initially here is just do some one-arm swings, right hand only or trail hand only, and grip lower on the club where your right hand would normally be. And what you're going to do is you're just going to go up to the top here, and you're going to get into that 90-90-90 position. So 90 degrees here between my torso and my upper arm. Then I have a 90-degree angle between my upper arm and my lower arm, and then 90-degree angle between with my wrist here, between my arm and my hand here. Now these don't have to be exactly 90, so don't be too much of a stickler on that. But basically you want to almost create like a box here. So if you have a box right here, and then a box right there, that's what you want to feel like you're creating there. So get it up there in that 90-90-90, and then what I want you to do is I want you to swing down through and feel like you're creating momentum with your lower body. You're opening your body here, and you're releasing that club head out in front. Almost like if I was going to toss this club head into the impact screen here, that's what you want to feel. Now, you don't really want to let go of it, but you want to feel like that club head, the weight of the club head is kind of going out there like that. So let's do about 10 where we go up like this, pause at the top, and then feel that release there out in front. So get 10 of those in, and then let's do some fluid ones where we're taking out the pause and we're getting into that 90-90-90 position. So here, going up, and then I'm feeling that release out in front. Get about 10 of those in. Now let's add the other club. Let's do a couple more pausing ones where we're going up to the top, we're getting into that 90-90-90 position, and then we're releasing that out in front. So here we go, pausing, and I'm going to release that out in front of me toward the target. So again, here, and you're going to feel, if you're someone who's really getting bunched up like that, you're going to feel how much more powerful that is and how you feel your body really opening up, almost like you were throwing a ball out in front. That's the motion and the feeling that you want to have when you're hitting a golf ball. That's how all the tour players are so accurate and consistent, is because that's how they're releasing the club. That's how they're bringing the club into the ball. So let's try to speed that up and add some fluidity to it and get that same kind of 90-90-90 position at the top. So here we go. Speed it up a little bit. So you see I'm not over bending my arm. I'm not, keeping that trail wrist straight. I'm kind of bending everything back, getting into this nice position just like that. So once you've got 10 swings in, if you've done 10 fluid, high-speed swings, you feel like you're getting into that position, I'd say now it's time to get a ball out and see if we can get that same position with a ball. So let's tee up one here, and let's see if I can get in that good 90-90-90 position. Let's see if I can get a fairway hit there. All right, so in order for this right arm throw motion to work properly, we have to get this club shallowing out in the start of the downswing. So what that means is, basically I'm getting this butt end of the club to be pointing a little bit outside the golf ball or at the golf ball in the start of the downswing. What that allows me to do is that allows me to keep that club on plane, so that way I don't have to make any compensations in the downswing to get the club back on plane. So for example, let's say I'm getting in this great 90-90-90 position, but then in the start of the downswing, I start steepening the club, so I get this club more vertical. Well, in order for me to get this club back on plane, I basically have to stand up out of my posture. You can see that drops the club from the inside, and now I have to throw early anyway. So even though I got in this great 90-90-90 position, I had to throw the club early to get the club on plane to be able to hit a functional golf shot. Now, you'll hit a functional golf shot, but everything's going to be dependent on timing, and some days you're going to be great, and other days you're going to be very, very inconsistent. So if you want to get that consistency and get that right arm throw motion working correctly like we talked about earlier, we want to do something that's called the anti-roll method. And this is a method where we get the club shallowing out sooner, and we use wrist angles to get that club face squared up sooner, so that way we can stay in our posture and be able to easily release that club out in front. We don't have to make any crazy compensations in the swing to be able to get a functional golf shot. So I have a great video for you where Clay Ballard, the founder of Top Speed Golf, is going to talk about the anti-roll method. So if you want to check out a preview of that video, I'm going to play a preview of that video in here in just a second. But if you'd like to see the whole video, all you have to do is click the iCard that's going to pop up on your screen, or you can click the link in the description below. Play well, and I'll talk to you soon.
So here's the bottom line. If you've been taught to roll the club in the early downswing, that causes the shaft to get steep. And that steep club causes all your problems. It causes you to hit it way behind the big hitters and way inconsistent with your quality of strikes. So you're in the tall grass and the trees and the hazards all day long. Now the great news is this. There's really only two pieces that you need to know to fix all these problems. The first one is we need to learn the proper way to square up the club face. Instead of rolling the forearms and getting steep, there's another way that the pros do this. Once you learn this right way to square up the club face, then you can shallow out from the inside and everything starts to fit together. Now I'm going to teach you this right now in what I call the anti-roll method. You may also hear this called the motorcycle move or the tour twist, but let's walk through exactly how to do that. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and go kind of in the last parallel in the downswing. So here, I want my hips to go ahead and be opening up. I want my club to be parallel with the ground, and I want my hands to be in front of my right thigh. Now, when I take my grip, you're going to notice that when I do this, the club face is basically straight up and down. So if I'm looking at it from this angle, you'll see the face is straight up and down, and my logo of my glove is pointed out in front of me. Now from there,